What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on the latest news of the green and gold Green Bay Packers. A huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Feel free to subscribe, leave a like, turn on a notification bell, and if you're a turner, I welcome you as well. And once again, a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. We just saw a pretty ugly game in Week 18 to wrap up the regular season for the Green Bay Packers. Not one that, many Packers fans expected to win. I think Minnesota was favored by about 13 points, and they won by 13 points, beating the Packers 16-3. The Packers kicked a field goal with 1 second left to avoid getting shut out. So this was really a 16-0 loss in my mind watching it. Lots of negatives from this one, but again, not many players playing in it, so maybe you take positives in this one as well. We're just going to go through it overall. I mean, it's just an ugly loss. Definitely the worst game of the year production-wise, but again, not one that was expected to be in the winning column. You look at this, the Packers totaled -7 net passing yards in this game. Clayton Tune went 6 for 11 for 34 yards, but he was sacked 4 times for 41 yards, so the net passing yards, -7. Woof. I mean, it's just not pretty. Let's go to the total offense as well. I just want to kind of get this segment out of the way. No disrespect to this Week 18 game, but there's really not many positives to take away from it. You look at the total offense, just 121 yards. They were 3 for 12 on third down, 0 for 1 in the red zone, and average 2.4 yards per play. Not going to win you a football game no matter who's on the field. Again, Packers playing basically all of their backups, not expecting a win in that one. Maybe hold on to some hope that they could get a win, get up on a right foot entering the playoffs, but no, they extend their losing streak to 4 straight games, and yeah, definitely nothing pretty from that one. Unfortunately, I mean, it's good for him, but unfortunately the Packers MVP in that one was their punter. Daniel Whelan had 8 punts in this game for 431 yards. And 5 of them inside the 20-yard line. So that's an average of 53.9 yards per punt. You got to clap it up. You got to give the credit to Daniel Whelan. But when you could arguably say that your punter was the MVP, that's nothing that you really want to say out of the mouth. But hey, shout out to Daniel Whelan, one of the best to do it this season as a punter. Definitely got some votes up there. He might have finished 4th among all punters in Pro Bowl voting. Not fully sure on that one. He's had a great season. Nice stuff to see in the slim, maybe singular positive I could have found within this game. But we're going to transition. There's a couple more positives than just Whelan. Looking at Sorrell and Trayvon Diggs, showing positives themselves. Sorrell, a rookie out of Texas, a 4th-round pick for the Packers in this year's draft, got the official start, and he did not disappoint. You look at his final numbers in this one in his first NFL start. He had 8 tackles, 1 of them for a loss. He had a sack and a fumble recovery. Sorrell really doing it all. And again, Minnesota played J.J. McCarthy for some of this game. Then he had to remove himself with that thumb injury. Max Brosmer came into the game. That's when he got that fumble recovery. So, not the prettiest quarterback situation that Sorrell was facing, but the rest of this Vikings team, they really played everyone. They didn't have anything to gain or to lose from this. What they could have gained is, ending 2025, the 2026 season on a right foot, which they did, defeating the Packers. So Sorrell going against I guess you could call, fully attacking Vikings team. It's not like they sat everyone as well, and it's kind of hard to judge. They definitely were going all for it, getting that 16-3 win. So very nice stuff to see from Sorrell. Does he play over Rashawn Gary? I think that's a huge stretch entering the playoffs. But with what we've seen from Gary, no tackles for loss, no sacks over the last 9 weeks. And you see Sorrell get in there and make the most of his opportunity, his first NFL start. I think definitely Gary will still be the guy in there, but don't be shocked if Sorrell takes over more snaps than usual. So definitely something to keep an eye on. You go to Trayvon Diggs. This is his first game as a Green Bay Packer. Really arrived in Green Bay just a couple of days ago. He played 39 of 64 snaps in this game. This is per Wendell Ferrerica on X. Believe I'm pronouncing that right. It says, based on preliminary coverage grades, Trayvon Diggs had the best PFF coverage grade on the Packers with a 76.3. He allowed a 56.3 passer rating while targeted. that is some pretty good stuff. Again, Trayvon Diggs had a really great season in 2021, was one of the better corners of that time. But you jump forward to what is now 2026 as we're in January, and he is having arguably, if not the worst season of his career. He was allowing a perfect passer rating on 20 total targets his way. So nice to see a little change of pace compared to his struggles that he was facing in Dallas. You look at this a little bit more too. Per Matt Schneeman on X, this was in LaFleur's press conference saying LaFleur won't rule out Trayvon Diggs as a starter next weekend. He said Diggs absolutely can help in the playoffs. Diggs was definitely a question mark. Would the Packers really get him just for this game because they needed him? Would he really play in the playoffs? He'll be on the roster, but would he really play? With this game and these positives for him, looks like that he could be a possible option. Maybe he won't be starting in the corner room, but with how thin it is and with how much it's had to mix around and with now some injuries that the Packers are facing, would be an interesting option to see if he will be in there for Green Bay. But again, Diggs has gotten burnt a lot this season. He plays some pretty tight coverage, so it can be a huge plus on the interception department, but a huge minus if he gets burnt. A guy is definitely going to be wide open. Diggs, that's just kind of his style of play, and you kind of just have to accept it. So those are kind of my two positives out of this. Diggs with a good first game as a Packer. Again, going up against Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I mean, this Vikings team was, all cylinders firing at this Packers defense. That was basically filled of their second stringers. And you go to Barron Sorrell. What a great first NFL start for the young kid out of Texas. Very nice stuff to see. But once again, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Playing at Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can earn up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at this Packers and this Bears game. Looking at Jordan Love, I would pretty confidently pick the higher on his passing yards, and even Caleb Williams as well, picking the higher on his passing yards. I feel like this is going to be an offensive battle. I know the first two games, 28-21 and 22-16 has kind of had some offense in there, but I think this is going to definitely be an offensive battle. So those are my picks for this week. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FootballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play the first $5. That's promo code FootballFan. Underdog, make your picks, make your money. Again, really appreciate Underdog sponsoring this video. And again, for me, I feel like it could be an offensive battle against Chicago. Who knows? The weather could be iffy, and I could be totally wrong. But I feel like Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, it's Williams' first playoff game. It's Love looking for revenge coming off that injury he got against the Bears. I feel like it could be an offensive heavy night. But before we get there, we got to talk about two more injuries that were suffered in this game against the Minnesota Vikings. Javon Bullard and Bo Melton both were injured in the loss. And really, those are kind of like one of the only two guys that truly start on this Packers team that were still playing in Week 18. Again, LaFleur trying to play as many backups as he could, but you just can't mathematically do that. He had to have some starters in there. Evan Williams was also in there for a lot of the game. Unfortunately, two of those guys, in Javon Bullard and Bo Melton, were injured in the loss, both obtaining knee injuries. You kind of wanted to monitor how serious these injuries were because, once they're down, it's like, okay, don't put them back in the game. I mean, Bullard getting hurt in the fourth quarter as well. It's just kind of like what are you doing? Why is he still in there kind of a thing? But again, Evan Williams was also in there at the same time. So not a pretty situation nonetheless for a Packers team that is praying that they can keep anyone healthy, and two more guys going down, both with knee injuries. You look at their injury level, though, per Zach Cruz on X, it said Matt LaFleur with Larry McCarron saying not certain on Bo Melton's injury, but he thinks Javon Bullard will be fine. Fine is not a confident 100% good to go answer, but again, that was shortly after the game. We'll definitely monitor throughout the week coming up to that game against Chicago how serious it is. Bo Melton seems like more of a question mark. I mean, Melton, special teams, offense, and defense, he's really doing it all, especially in this game for the Packers. That would be a big loss. Again, in the receiving department, not one of the main guys. In the corner department, not the CB1. In the special teams department, maybe he's returning some kicks, but just being able to have that plug and play type player, no matter the level he plays it at, is so huge for how thin this team is for Green Bay. So again, definitely two injuries that we would love to monitor and hope for positive news for both of those players. But that gets me into my last point of the video on what I've already talked about a little bit. The Packers are set to face the Chicago Bears in the NFC wild card, and man, buckle up. Round 3 between these two teams. It's split a perfect 1-1 this season. It was a perfect 1-1 last season. This rivalry has definitely revamped to a high level. You look at this, both the Bears and the Eagles lost in week 18. So there was a chance the Packers were going to play the Eagles. That'd be if the Bears lost and the Eagles won. The Bears did lose, but the Eagles also lost. So that keeps the Bears locked at that number 2 seed where they sat entering week 18 nonetheless. So again, the Packers taking on their NFC North rival, Chicago Bears. And I mean, this is going to be an intense game. Probably one of the most, if not the most watched Packers-Bears games of all time, because you're just kind of getting later, later, 16 years later than 2010 when they last faced off in the playoffs. So more people are watching football. And for a Bears point of view, this could be a big season for them. For a Packers point of view, you're watching it hoping to just get a dang win and maybe upset the Bears in Chicago. It is officially set for January 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. And the game will be at Soldier Field on Prime Video. Again, once more, January 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Prime Video, being played in Chicago. With it being played in Chicago, this is, of course, a couple of days out because it's only January 5th on the day of recording. This game is not until the 10th, but you look at the weather on the 10th, high of 38, low of 23 expected. Again, still a good amount of days out. And it says, this is per the Weather Channel, so I'm trying to get it as official as I can, as confidently as I can. It says rain and snow showers in the morning, then remaining overcast in the afternoon. Temperatures nearly steady in the mid-upper 30s. Winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation 50%. Higher wind gusts possible. So maybe, I've got the two quarterbacks on over on their passing yards. Maybe if the windier game, they go more to the ground game. Definitely will be something to monitor. Maybe I change my picks on underdog if that kind of gets worse and we think it's going to be a big game for the ground. But who knows? We will just have to wait and see. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. Hoping for positives on injuries. Hoping to forget the back end of this regular season and focus on the playoffs, get a win against the Bears and take up from there. But there's going to be a lot of things that need to be addressed to get in that position. But once again, as always, I am your host, Taylor Bretl. I appreciate you tuning in for yet another episode of Packers Latest, and go Pack Go.